Greetings, Poe fans. Welcome to another edition of Poe Unplugged. I am Carmen Bolden.
And I am Jeanie Smith, and we are
The Poetastic Two.
Come zoom with us into the Unbook Club dedicated to the works of Mr. Edgar Allan Poe.
Good evening, and welcome back to Poe Unplugged. And tonight we are going to move away from something Poe wrote to something that the great author Robert Bloch wrote called The Man Who Collected Poe. And as you see, the picture behind me is actually from the segment in the movie Torture Garden that is that short story. And so who would like to begin tonight? Anybody?
I enjoyed rereading this story after many years. It was published in 1951 in a pulp magazine, and it's very different from Robert Bloch's other stories. He really was channeling Edgar Allan Poe in the writing of it. In Bloch's usual stories, he's almost like the Ernest Hemingway of horror, science fiction, and fantasy. His sentences are very straightforward, easily to understand, straight to the point. But in this one, he adopted a much more flowery tone and description, and it was like reading another story written by Edgar Allan Poe, which was what the whole story was about. Edgar Allan Poe is still writing short stories, and this one sounded just like one that he would have written.
I thought
very much so. I mean, that was one of the things that I really thought was kind of cool, that he kind of took on Poe's way of writing. Very effective.
Yeah, the vocabulary is what I picked up on a lot. It's the words that he used. I was just like, I feel like I'm reading this story or that story, that he just meshed together and just made it flow, just like musical notes coming off the page, is what I thought.
It would be like if you would read it somewhere else and not know who the author is, you would just naturally assume it was a story that Poe had written himself.
Absolutely.
It was funny though in saying that, because I read it first, then I watched the movie, and I was like, I kind of knew what was going to happen before it happened. Where I think that was because he wrote it so much like with respect to the Fall of House of Usher. I kind of saw like the painting on the wall and knew how it was going to end pretty much right away. I kind of knew what it was that he was collecting, which is, I mean, maybe not everyone could grasp that, but I have to say, if we fast forward me to watching the movie, I already knew the punchline, but I don't think I would have known the punchline because I didn't have the text with all of the imagery from the Fall of House of Usher in reference to it. So I kind of wish, I was like, I wish I would have watched the movie first. And in saying that, I actually ended up liking the movie version better. It might have to do with the fact that Jack Palance was in it. And what I loved about him through the movie was he was like this cool, suave, tall, sexy guy. But then he becomes this complete fangirl when he goes to see this Edgar Allan Poe collection. He's like giddy, and he's like he's like almost like funny, like comical in it. And I really enjoyed it. I think I would have enjoyed it more if I would have watched first, then read it. But yeah, so I didn't. I mean, I for the story, though, I thought like it was obviously really well written. I wasn't here or there about it. But yeah, I definitely like the movie version of the story better. And it was pretty close. I mean, they changed some of the names of the stories in there, so I think it was a pretty accurate. And they changed the ending a little bit, but I mean, I think it was a pretty good rendition of the story, and that must have been super cool to see that. I was glad you suggested it, Dr. Jeff, because it was kind of cool to see someone write that and then someone actually have it in the film version. So that was a lot of fun for me.
As much as I hate to ever disagree with Holly, I found the movie. So I read it first, which I thought again was so atmospheric, and it was one of the creepier tales, I guess, being Robert Bloch and all. But I thought the movie. I thought the changes at the end where Jack Palance actually kills whoever the character was supposed to be. the narrator.
The Lancelot guy, yeah.
Yeah, it completely turned things around. The ending, and then bringing in the devil, and to me it was an unnecessary kind of exaggeration of trying to do a big ending when the Robert Bloch ending ended plenty creepy as it was.
You know what it was though? They did that so that they could end the movie with him making.
No, I understood because they're trying to tie all these pieces together.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they made the change. Yeah.
So I guess I'm not challenging their decision to do it. I'm just saying that I found the movie version much less satisfying than the story version, the written version.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree, Steve.
Well, that's fair. I could be wrong.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's just like, generally I prefer, like I said, I don't watch that many movies, so maybe that's too, like I find myself at night, I'm more of a reader than a watcher. So when I go back and see these like films, they just don't make films like that anymore. So for me, I just really, like I said, I overall liked the movie. I liked I liked the first vignette, which had the ties to the black cat in there. I really liked the first vignette. That was really, really good. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun to be. I mean, I can see your point, like, yeah, because the end when you see like the Edgar Allan Poe-esque guy, and it does change the ending. I feel the ending's more powerful in the written form. Yeah, I do, absolutely. But I still like the changes that they made for the film.
You just like Jack Palance.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, yeah, I was.
Which I also thought he came across as so unstudily. He was like this little kind of. I thought he was like a Peter Lorre character with this kind of nervous giggle the whole time.
Let's not compare him to him. Now stop it. Like, just stop.
I saw that, but I kind of picked up on that. I kept thinking parts of that reminded me, just a couple of lines of it reminded me of the Telltale Heart. In that the guy was nervous. He's kind of like, he's really stressed out, and I want to get this stuff done, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm going mad around this place. And it kind of like hit me with that, kind of like the same theme, just for a little while, not a whole lot of it, but just a little bit of it.
What struck me is that a year after Jack Palance made this movie, he made The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for Dan Curtis. And the way he talked in this segment, in this movie, the timid, breathy way he talked some of the time, that came across again in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So it's as if he was trying out that approach and used it again to differentiate between Dr. Jekyll and his ferocious Mr. Hyde, if you have seen that production. And it's coming out again on Blu-ray on Kino Lorber. I'm introducing it on camera. So try to see that. And his version of Dracula, too. But both of them are outstanding. Two of his best acting jobs, especially Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I've always thought he was a fantastic actor.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. Yeah, because I mean, and I think what worked for that, because I know some of you guys didn't see the movie, was just that before the vignette, they show the cast of characters how they normally are. And he's very cool. He's like smoking his pipe. And he's everything you think that a guy that looked like that would act like, right? Like the dream, mysterious man. And then he acts like a complete, like just like a little schoolboy. So yeah, so I think that's what made that particularly, for me, that made it all work. If you didn't have that and you saw this big dude acting like that, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? What's wrong with this guy? But it worked how they did it, I think.
I like the book better than the movie for a couple reasons. One was because the house in the movie was not as I pictured it. It was too nice. I pictured the house being much more run down from the book description. Also, the book I have has these really great Edward Gorey photographs in it. And it really depicts the house looking very, as Edward Gorey would depict it. And then down in the cellar, So I just pictured it as a really rundown place, almost like, in the House of Usher. It was all about to crumble. And in the movie, it was too manicured, I thought. Also in the movie, I I wasn't real thrilled with the actor that they chose for Poe. He didn't look enough like Poe for me. He didn't sound the way I have always thought Poe might sound. I don't know. Those were just
he didn't have the accent, but he didn't have the accent. But I thought for me, I mean, he was pretty attractive. So I mean, I'm all about Hollywooding him up a little bit, guys. You know where my mind is. Like, stop. But yeah, he did not have the Southern accent. No, he did not.
I don't know. He just
I
didn't
love
look,
Edward
he didn't
Gorey.
look enough like
I love
Poe
his
for me.
pictures.
Yeah, didn't look enough like Poe. But anyway.
Yeah. Stephen, what did you think?
You're muted.
I think he is muted.
Here, let's see. I should be able to unmute. Let's see.
There he is.
Now.
There you go. Yeah, well, I enjoyed it. Again, I'm a Jack Palance fan, and unfortunately, I didn't read it. Where can you get the book or the version of that?
Yeah,
everyone's got one.
If you just Google
complete stories of okay, Robert Bloch.
Yeah. If you
there's like several volumes, and some of the other volumes were really expensive.
If you Google it, you can get it for free.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Google
yeah,
it for free?
Yeah, the story itself you can get for free on several different sites.
All right.
It's only 12 pages.
Yeah, you can find it online.
Yeah, it's only 12 pages.
Yeah. Yeah, I was impressed with Jack Palance, how he was so obsessed with Poe memorabilia, and he would do anything to have it. And he was just the way he approached it all. I thought it was great. Fortunately, I saw it around almost midnight. So when I watch something that late or read something that late, the next day I wake up and go, "Oh, what was that? What did I read?" I hate that, but unfortunately, can't give you any details. But I just enjoyed it. Again, Jack Palance is one of my favorite actors.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I put in the chat, one of my probably favorite movies with him is called The Man in the Attic from 1953. And it's creepy. It's great. He does such a good job. So
I have not seen that.
Check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Man in the Attic.
Yeah, that sounds creepy. I like that.
Isn't it a remake of The Lodger?
It is, yes.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great film. Will added that he said, I definitely felt he channeled Poe. I went into it very skeptical, but I ended up getting chills. So well done, Mr. Bloch. I absolutely.
Yes, I thought it was a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And
mainly because it did sound like Poe, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
It also sounded to me like our own Steve Ballard in his book, The Last Lament, Poe's Last Lament. If you've read Steve's book.
Yes.
Our Steve is great at channeling Poe, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
I'm
no Jack Palance, but
and no, he didn't pay me to say that. But
yes, but his book is very good. It's really good.
Yeah,
available on Amazon.
Exactly.
But my thought on the, I think Cheryl brought up the setting, the room in the story. Why is there this fixation? I guess I must have been over my head. Why does he keep talking about this kind of deja vu aspect that I feel like I've seen this before? Is it just because he's read Poe before and it's a Poe setting? But he keeps coming back to it like it's deja vu. It's like, I feel like I've been here. I feel like I know this place. Mm-hmm. What was the relevance to that?
So are you talking about the author himself or one of the characters in the story?
In the story, he keeps doing this thing for me because he keeps bringing it back as he's telling us, like, oh, this is familiar. I think because the narrator in Bloch's story was a fan of fantasy, not necessarily Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
So he was familiar with him, but he wasn't like us. He's not going to know, oh, that line's from that story. So he had read Edgar Allan Poe. He respected him, but he wasn't a fanatic. So, like, he kind of feels like, because essentially he almost walks into, like, a trap in a way, right? This guy knows why he invited him to his house. He knows that he's going to show him what's in the basement. So it's kind of had, like, almost like a little bit Cast of the Macchiato feel. Like, he's, like, it's almost warning himself, like, oh, this is really familiar. And of course, every time he said that, we know as fanatics that these are from different stories. So for me, it's kind of like that was like my only issue, was that he did it so well, is that I was able to guess the ending like right off the bat. And I'm okay if I guess the ending, because I'm really good at that. It's just like I sometimes, you know what I mean? Like when you guess it, and I don't know, sometimes it's just not, the journey's fun, but it doesn't hit as hard if I was surprised. But that's, he did such a good job with all the foreshadowing.
Even before I read the story and read the title, I kind of went into it like, okay, he's collected Poe. He's collected all the stuff and all the books, but Poe must be there somehow. It just hit me that way from the very beginning. So in a way, I kind of figured out the ending before I got to the end, even though it was still kind of shocking to think.
It's like, how do you resurrect him, right? Because it is kind of like, it's kind of like one of those it's far-fetched, the idea of, I'm going to resurrect you from like some dusty skeleton dust. Like,
but for some reason, it just was in the back of my mind that he was collecting more than just the memorabilia. There was more there.
Yeah, Gary, you're very good, because it shocked me when we got there. I hadn't put it all together. The other point I'd make is Skeleton Dust is a good name for the next Holly Knightley book.
Oh my gosh, you know what, Steve? Holy shit, I love that. I have like book titles, I'm adding that. Thank you, Steve. Like fairy dust. I like put fairy stuff in my skeleton dust. I love it.
Well, and the other thing that kind of made me think that was possible is when they were talking about, going from the original grave and then taking him to the other one, and it just sort of hit me.
Yeah, it's plausible, right? Because his bones were like in a shoebox somewhere. Somebody else's were there. Yeah, I mean, there's a hole in his coffin. Yeah, it's plausible, right?
Jeanie?
Yeah, I have a little bit of an unpopular opinion of it. I enjoyed the story all the way through until the ending. And I read it a couple of times just to make sure I was reading it to my own satisfaction.
Yeah.
I thought just setting the house on fire at the ending of it was kind of a cheap way out. It kind of like, well, I've told this story, now how do I get out of here? And let's cut it off. I would have, I'm not a writer, so I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but it's true. I don't have any suggestion to make it better, except I just wish that they hadn't ended it so abruptly like that. I thought it was chopped off a little bit.
I tend to agree with you on that, but I also think that it kind of goes back to the other story about oh God, since I've had anesthesia, I can't think. That the house story.
The House of Usher.
Because the House of Usher, it collapses, right? It's destroyed. Yeah. So I was kind of expecting this house to be destroyed, but not necessarily by fire. I figured it just would fall in like the other one.
Yeah.
So whatever.
True, yeah.
Yeah. Jeannie's.
Well, I hate to have to agree with Mike, but I do. I was not a fan of the story because to me it was, how should I word this? It was like,
it's okay, Jeanie. It's all right.
It's like he was trying too hard, in my opinion. It was almost to the point of too much to me. I mean, yes, I love the use of the language. I love the idea of the story and the madness of the man who invited him. I love the little intricacies of where they were not doing anything but drinking Amontillado, and and kind of he getting him drunk and trying to see his madness type of thing. And to me, that was like him like doing the homage to the drunken Poe mythos, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. Now the madness aspect, I did like that. I did like how in the story he started, it was a generational thing, started way back in the day kind of thing. But it was, I guess, too predictive for me. that I was like, I know where this is going. And I mean, it was very elaborate. It was very wordy, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not really much of a shock that where this is going, because I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, all right, yeah. Oh, we got a dungeon, we got a basement, of course we got a basement. We got a madman who like went nuts and, started speaking about the pit, the pendulum, the palace, all this kind of stuff. And then, oh wait, yeah, so you've kind of resurrected Poe. Duh. Okay, so, and I mean, talking about demonology and witchcraft and, all these spells. So, I mean, as a whole, yes, it was an interesting read. By far, it was no words with a mummy. Um, but it wasn't that bad. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it was okay for what it was, but it wasn't something that I probably would read again. I'm just gonna say it out loud. And as for Torture Garden, that's the name of it? I too haven't had a chance to watch it myself, but I was kind of going to, especially after I read, because I'm like, well, let's see how that goes. But um I'm not a big fan of a lot of things. I either like the reading or I like the movie or I dislike both. So it's very rare that the reading and the movie I like at the same time. So
I still like the movie because there's a cat in it who like steals the show in the first vignette, Jeanie. The cat is like, his presence is amazing. You're gonna love it.
All right, now
watch it for the cat, and you're gonna be like, that is one cool cat. I loved it.
All right. I'm there for the cat.
The cat is such a beautiful cat. I was like, oh my gosh, where has this cat been all my life? I'm probably like, Jeanie, you can relate. You're gonna be like that too. Like, look at this cat stealing the show.
All right.
Once again, I have to disagree with Holly. The cat is not that attractive at all. But let me defend Jeanie.
Poor Holly.
Jeanie, let me try one thought on the story. I appreciate what you're saying about it, but I'm wondering, to what extent is this story less about Poe and more about Poe fanatics, and trying to show how extreme these fanatics can become, to the point where they're literally resurrecting Edgar Allan Poe himself, and then all the negative consequences that come with that, really showing up in the movie as, I wish I could die. You've ruined Poe's, you haven't ruined his life, you've ruined his death. But anyway, yeah. I wonder if it's less about Poe and more about Poe fanatics. In which case, maybe that's one of the things that we all take umbrage with, because we see ourselves a little bit characterized in.
That's exactly what hit me really hard, was the fanatic part of it, for sure. I mean, my goodness.
Robert Bloch himself was a fanboy. He as a teenager, read H.P. Lovecraft and then began a correspondence with Lovecraft. Really? And Lovecraft even named a character in one of his stories, Robert Blake, after Robert Bloch. So,
isn't that something?
Bloch himself, knew about fandom and taking things a little too far, perhaps sometimes. Yeah. I corresponded with Robert Bloch for the last 4 years of his life. Forrest J. Ackerman gave me Bloch's address and suggested that we write to each other. Mm-hmm. And so we did. And the letters were fascinating. They were all handwritten in blue, black, or red felt tip pen. And he always wrote back promptly. And we talked about his stories, and I read all 3 volumes of these short stories as we were corresponding, and I gave him my thoughts. but we also talked about my work and our families and his travels and the next book he was writing and this, that, and the other. And of course, Psycho. Um, he never saw any of the sequel movies because he himself wrote a book called Psycho 2, which is not the story of the great movie sequel. So he never saw those, but he of course did see Psycho, and said that it was a very good movie. His only quibble was he felt, as many viewers and critics do, that the last scene with Simon Oakland as the psychiatrist goes on too long, that he's over-explaining it.
Yeah.
And that's true enough, but, you know, the movie came out in 1960, and there had been some stories of split personality before then, but not nearly as much as now when we've seen every soap opera, every nighttime TV show has an episode about a split personality, you know, movies of all kinds. So it's sort of burned into our knowledge and psyches now, but it wasn't that so in 1960. And so I think that there needed to be a lengthy explanation of it. Maybe not that quite as long, but fairly long. But other than that, Mr. Bloch was complimentary of the movie. You know, he wrote so many movies and TV scripts himself. A Star Trek episode, Wolf in the Fold, about Jack the Ripper type spirit possessing someone on the spaceship.
I remember that.
Bloch was fascinated with Jack the Ripper and an expert. He was a ripperologist, but he loved the whole concept and idea of Jack the Ripper. And one of his most famous short stories is Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper, which has been done on Boris Karloff's Thriller and radio several times. But Bloch wrote several stories about Jack the Ripper or a Ripper-like character, including this Star Trek episode and a great novel, American Gothic, which is about the real-life serial killer who was at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. So Bloch was very, very interesting, you know, and he was a very kind gentleman, a very sweet person, a family man. You know, he writes all of these great stories of grisly murder and mayhem, but that's not who he was in real life. He was very, very kind and soft-spoken, and I don't think anyone ever had anything bad to say about him. And was very kind to the fans. I guess here again he was tapping into his knowledge and interest in fandom because he was very patient with the fans and very kind to them. There is a story of some fanboys wrote to him and said, we have a fanzine. Would you write an article for our fanzine? And he did. He sent them back some sort of essay or article that he wrote just for these guys' fanzine. So that showed that he was a very nice, kind person.
Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing.
I think the last thing I want to say about this is that when I was reading this and read the part where obviously the guy was very much obsessed. And I got to thinking, if there's anybody out there that doesn't know what it's like to become obsessed with something, and my own personal reflection is that way back in the 1970s, I got hooked on family genealogy.
Oh.
And I studied that and studied it and studied it to the point where I would go to bed at night and actually dream of these ancestors like I knew them firsthand. And all I really knew about them was a name on a piece of paper. But I was obsessed with that. So I can understand how someone can become obsessed, like in this particular story. So from that perspective, I thought it was a very interesting story to read. And I would recommend it for people to read. Again, my only criticism was the ending. I just personally didn't like the way it ended.
Yeah. Well, I added an article talking about kind of like Mike, what you just said about obsession. Steve, you mentioned stuff about people getting, you know, hooked and obsessed about things. And for a totally different reason, I found an article from the Edgar Allan Poe Society of Baltimore called The Poe Cult. And it's by E.L. Didier. And it's just very interesting. And it's talking about how so many people are obsessed with Poe or are hooked on Poe. And that this kind of started around the time that his grave was removed around 1875. And there's one quote I want to read you that I thought was very interesting, pulled out of here. There's a few quotes that are very interesting, but it's the end of the Poe cult cannot be foretold. It has not reached its height. And I just thought that was very, very interesting. And this was written in 1902.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And even to me today, it's still not reached its height. And so I was like, this is fascinating. So if you get a chance, read that article. I just think you'll enjoy it, especially tied to what we did tonight.
Well, I've been a Poe fan since forever. I know other people that are too, and it seems like people really, really love him or they hate him and don't want to have anything to do with they, like they've read like one story and they're done.
Yeah.
So the fanaticism in this, I was like, I could kind of relate to that, because I like collecting memorabilia and old books and stuff. I think that would be kind of a cool thing to be able to do, but I can't afford it. Because I'll see something like, no, I'm not going to pay $7,000 for that. But anyway, I really think that it's going to go on for a long, long time. I just think you either like him or you don't.
Yeah. I think it's never ending. And
I would venture to guess that Bloch must have really liked him himself to have written this story.
Yeah.
That's what I would guess.
I think so too. Will had added, I actually was imagining Poe's ghost watching the story being written. Hold on, something's blocking it. And thinking, for Pete's sake, I'm just a story writer. Chill out. Oh, but again, he had no idea how great his, legacy would be. And it's a shame. It really is. Unless, as I always say, he was a time traveler.
Well, and when you think about when he was alive and he was writing, there were a lot of people that didn't think he was great at all.
Yeah.
They didn't care for him, and he was poor as dirt because they wouldn't pay him any money for what he was writing.
Yeah.
We were talking about that one story that was really long about how he was paid for the number of words that he did. I mean, the poor guy was a pauper. He didn't become wealthy because he was an author.
Plagiarized too.
Yeah.
Or they plagiarized him also.
Yeah.
They stole his works and published it without paying him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the poor man didn't get any credit when he was alive. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why he fought so hard for copyright laws.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and the thing of it is I love Robert Bloch. I mean, I love him. I love his writing. And the writing of this story, I have no problem with because he is a wonderful storyteller. And like you guys have pointed out, he was expressing the fanatics of the Poe world. And audience accepted here. we have our own form of fanatics. We are not the end all be all fanatical as in the story, but we have our own level. Yeah, I'd say Carmen is. I would have to throw her under the bus for that. So yeah, Carmen is.
She's resurrecting him for Halloween as we speak, guys. She has it already.
Yes, she's the one that's dressed up as Poe more than probably all of us put together. So there's nothing wrong with that. But like we've always discussed, Poe always affects each one of us differently. And I guess from the part of the story that bothered me the most is it was just I could see the bad more than I saw the good. I guess that's what bothered me the most. It's like I could understand the fanatic of them wanting to keep Poe alive. Well, they got a little much by doing it literally, but I mean, we all, we all know about stalkers. Even in today's society, stalkers, there's at least two that I can think of that ended up killing their obsession.
Yeah.
And murder and stuff. And I think that if Poe probably hadn't died on his own, that it could have happened to him in some ways. I guess I don't know. I mean, I liked the story in itself about it delving into the psyche of the fanatic, because we all know that not many people know that the word fan comes from fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I don't see myself as a fanatic. I do see myself as a fan, but I'm not in the fanatic phase. Because if you put me and Carmen side by side, Carmen's fanatic, I'm fan. We have that commonality in that word, but I'm not as to the level as Carmen. So, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And we all have those things, those people, those artists. I mean, playwrights. Doesn't matter. There's always somebody that touches us at a certain point of our life that we get attached to them. And I guess more than his works, I think I'm more of a Poe supporter of the tragedy of his life, because of the similarities and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just once more just my 2 cents worth. And yes, I mean Robert Bloch is wonderful. I mean I love Psycho. I mean I've loved all his other works, and when Dr. Jeff was talking about how he wrote that one episode in Star Trek, I'm like, oh, I remember that episode. That was a good episode.
Yeah,
So.
he wrote several of these anthology movies, and one of the best, probably the best, is Asylum. If you ever get a chance to watch that one, watch that one. And like I say, the writing style in this story is very atypical, because if you read some of his other stories, like The Pen, The Goddess of Wisdom, Till Death Do Us Part, Enoch, Lucy Comes to Stay, The Weird Tailor, Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper, it's a 20th century style, whereas this one has a 19th century feel to it. But he usually writes in a very straightforward mid 20th century style that gets right to the point. And many of his stories do have shock endings that do surprise you. He does surprise you at the end of some of his stories.
Yeah. And I guess maybe that was what was bothering me the most, is that some of the writing just felt a little too much. I guess because I'm thinking of Robert Bloch's writing, and then I'm reading that going, well, like you said, Dr. Jeff, he was more of to the point, to the most, that type. And this one was more, it was an homage to Poe and all that, and there was nothing wrong with that. I guess it just I couldn't mesh the two together. I guess is what my problem was.
I do have a question about the story itself again. Given all of your insights, somebody can explain this to me. Is again, I'm a little dense on this, and that is why the emphasis throughout the story on the drinking, and particularly in the written version. Refill my glass, refill my glass, refill my glass. And in the movie, they also kind of emphasize that. What's the relevance of that? Is it trying to explain how the collector's defenses get lowered, or what? Is it something intentional or incidental?
I think it was homage for me. There was that homage to the cast of Amontillado with, like, to me again with the foreshadowing, like he's kind of bringing him down to the basement. So for me, I think I thought foreshadowing, and of course, you know, when you're under the influence, you're going to be a little looser with your lips for his big secret. But I think for me, he always planned on showing him his big secret. Like, I feel like he selected this guy and brought him to his house. And maybe because he knew he was a big fan of fantasy, but not necessarily Edgar Allan Poe, he wanted to be like, well, really, after you leave here, you're going to really be a Poe fan. So for me, yeah.
It does seem, I mean, this is another place where the movie and the book seem to be at odds, because in the book, as I recall, the narrator is being plied with drink. But in the movie, Peter Cushing makes a comment, oh, you've been trying to get me drunk in order for me to show you what's downstairs. I assure you I was going to show you anyway. So the fact that he'd taken an opposite view of it suggests also that there's really some question about what the purpose of that was at all. It seems like he could have dispensed with it easily. It seemed like a distraction to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
could it be that the person was braver because they were drinking? You know what I mean? Yeah. That they were trying to get their confidence up to tell this guy what was actually going on. That's kind of what I thought.
Well, in the movie, they switched it for a deliberate reason, because in the movie, Jack Palance's character was already a super fan. He was a true fanatic. So it was fanatic meaning fanatic. So he kept wanting him to drink in the movie because he thought this guy was holding out on him, and he wanted to see it all. Because this guy was rich, he was, you know, he had all these things that he shouldn't have, that he was trying to even buy from him. So he wanted to see the full collection, like the hidden collection, because a lot of collectors that, you know, at least they say they have like the collection that people get to see, and then they have their special collection. So for the movie, the drinking was definitely used to try to get him to kind of open up and see his little secret collection, which was, you know, Poe's actually alive. I think it's definitely more vague in the writing, but I mean, because like you know, they changed the characters, right? Fanatic meets fanatic versus guy who likes Poe. He's not really sold on him being the greatest guy in the world, meeting a fanatic. So I think part of it was this, like, as fanatics, right? When we want to talk about Edgar Allan Poe, sometimes I get frustrated because I'm crazy when people don't like really get how awesome he is, and I kind of like try like a twitch kind of. So I feel like for the fanatic, like in the written story, like he wants to prove to this guy how freaking cool Edgar Allan Poe is. Mm-hmm. And, you know, does he succeed? I mean, I think at the end, he definitely leaves one way or another with an opinion of him.
I watched you with that same twitch when I said Jack Palance wasn't that great of a guy. So,
well, that's a lie. Steve, don't make me go over there. I have your address. I know you're leaving tomorrow, but I have your address still. I'll be waiting for you on your porch when you get home. I'll be swimming in your pool with your cats.
Well, that's the part of the story that always bothered me, Steve, was the whole drinking, because the more alcohol you consume, the lower the inhibitions, and the psychosis comes out more, type of thing, where, you know, you just keep letting it go. And so, yeah, I was like, the part of me that I guess that I was thinking of is that the way he was writing it was like, it was just fixating on the whole idea that everybody always said about how Poe was a drunkard, how Poe had an alcohol problem, how it was part of the reasons that, you know, his change in some of his writing and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I interpreted it as. And that's kind of part of the thing that bothered me about it, because I'm like, you know, growing up with an alcoholic, you see the different levels of and it's like someone who is a happy drunk that just keeps drinking and drinking, and they just get happier, and then the sometimes paranoia can sneak in, and there can be some kinds of psychosis that sneak into it with all that other stuff, and that was definitely written in there with Canning towards the end, where the more he drank, it was like, and I read them. Read this. Yes, I read them. I did it, and it's like he needed that extra push to totally knock down all the walls.
That's exactly what I was referring to, was that he was needing that as a crutch.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that maybe, Robert Bloch meant it as that way, is that
liquid courage.
Yeah, the liquid courage type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Okay, sorry, Gary. I was just saying, the liquid courage. Okay.
So, but at the same time, that was one of the things that I guess was bothering me the most. It's like, if you keep drinking that much and everything, you would start slurring, you would start not, even though, yes, you would not start making any sense, but at the same time, it'd be like he was still too coherent, in my opinion, for all they were drinking. And it just was like, okay. I mean, I love the thing that they, he wrote about the I can't even say it now. The the whiskey. Thank you. For some reason, I just couldn't say it. And everything, but talking about leading them down the dungeon, paying to the cask and all that. But I don't know. I just kind of was like,
Well, they do take a jab at Poe in the movie, where they do say "Oh, any more on me, just drunk as Poe." So there is a quick little kind of underhand jab. I mean, I know a lot of us are very sensitive about the drinking. I'm not one of those people who are about people referencing it, but I could see how that would offend people who are fanatics. But yeah.
Yes.
And Bloch wrote the story in 1951, and the movie was in the 60s. And so at that time, sadly, a popular, stereotype of Poe was that, yes, he was an alcoholic. And that's what a lot of people thought they knew about Poe. And so sadly, it was just a reflection of mid-20th century thinking.
Yes.
But you know what? Going back to what Jeanie, you said about being being more of a fan of his life, I think it makes him very relatable. Even the idea that he was perhaps alcoholic. I mean, we all, whether it's alcohol or something else, we all have addictions that aren't good for us. I know I certainly do. I feel like, I think that's all part of why people do like Poe, because he does have he's relatable through his tragedy, through some of his failures and his successes. So even though he wasn't that, people can frown upon it, but I think deep down inside, especially, people can also relate to the kind of having that aspect of, or maybe even having maybe a slight issue and people kind of labeling you for something that you're not, and dealing with those types of stereotypes. I just think it also kind of makes him relatable.
Yeah, I guess I just had a problem with the fixation. It just seemed like it was too much of a tunnel vision fixation, in my opinion, to where I'm like, you could have expanded a little bit more without having to delve that deep, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Jeanie, tying into what you just said, and Mike, what Mike said earlier about his obsession with his ancestry. I was just reading here in the book I have. There's a little forward here, and it says that and I think you said this, Dr. Jeff, that Bloch was he was a member of the famous Lovecraft Circle.
Yes.
Okay, and it says one of Bloch's earlier tales, The Man Who Collected Poe, recalls Lovecraft's The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. Is anyone familiar with that novel? The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, more than anything by Poe. But the grisly merriment of it is pure Bloch. And so I looked up that novel, The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, and this is what it says. And Mike, this might really interest you.
So did Bloch write it?
No, H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P.
Okay.
Lovecraft
All right.
wrote
I was just trying to get that
this.
straight in my head.
Okay, yeah. and this is what it says. The novel, The Case of Charles Dexter Ward by Lovecraft, describes how Ward became obsessed with his distant ancestor, Joseph Curwen, an alleged wizard with unsavory habits. Ward physically resembled his ancestor Curwen and attempted to duplicate his ancestor's alchemical feats. He eventually used this knowledge to physically resurrect Curwen. Ward's doctor investigates Ward's activities and is horrified by what he finds. He was sort of the Jack Palance figure, I guess, in that. So basically, this is saying that Bloch was more channeling Lovecraft more than he was channeling Poe, if we can believe what it says here. I just thought that was kind of fascinating.
Yeah, that
kind of makes sense.
And a movie loosely based on the story is The Haunted Palace with Vincent Price and Deborah Paget. A wonderful movie, very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
There are only 4 characters, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think
it's a great movie.
See that one sometime if you haven't. The Haunted Palace.
Yeah,
I think it's next on our actual review morgue.
Oh,
cool.
No, I think that's later. I think
maybe it is.
But
yeah,
because we just started.
But it's on our list. It's on the list. So yeah.
Yeah, we just did our first for season 5 review morgue over House of Usher.
And the first Corman.
Yes.
That's a good one too.
Oh, it's so good. Well, any other last thoughts? We're kind of winding down on our time.
I do have something that hit me really pretty much into the first, maybe a couple pages of the story. We have an Arthur and we have a Lancelot.
Yes.
No, there's no Guinevere, but
true.
We have an Arthur and a Lancelot.
Well, the obsession was Poe, not Guinevere.
Yeah. Oh, I like that, Dr.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I thought the name Lancelot Channing was very interesting. Only because you have the Lancelot, which put a vision in my brain of a knight, almost noble person, and then you have Canning, which is kind of like a common man. So it's kind of like a split here. What is he?
Yeah, I also.
Anyway, I thought the choice of the name was very interesting. Lancelot Canning.
I also thought the canning part, it kind of reminded me of the process of canning where you're kind of collecting things in jars. I actually wrote a short story called The Jars where he collected things a few years ago. It's creepy. So
ooh, I want to read it.
It's one of my favorites. It's very creepy. Anyway. But yeah, any other thoughts? This has been a great discussion.
Just one real minor thing. Near the end, again, am I imagining this, or it looked like of the movie, there was a close-up of Jack Palance lighting a cigarette or the pipe. I can't remember now. Or no, lighting the candle maybe. But there's a close-up of the lighter, which I was assuming was foreshadowing of the fire and that destroys the place. They really zero in on that. I don't know if anyone else.
Yeah, they do. It's like a bright red lighter.
It's like this lingering shot of this flame.
Yeah, it was a bright. Yeah.
So a good piece of cinematography, I thought.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
So was that his lighter, or did he take that from?
No, it was Jack Palance's lighter because he had the pipe. He was carrying it with him.
That was his. He didn't take that. It wasn't part of the collection.
Right.
That was his.
Right.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So next,
is it on YouTube?
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. Yeah, there were several different ones, so it's easy to find.
Yeah, there's a link to it actually on the 6 Degrees of Poe website.
Yes, I did put a link out there of the short story and the movie, just to make it easy for everybody. So next month on September 30th, we're reading The Oblong Box. And October 28th, we're doing Premature Burial.
Ooh.
So,
back to back death.
yes.
Yay.
A lot of coffins.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing better.
We'd be coughing it up. Okay, sorry.
Oh, let's not talk about coughing.
Right.
My sickness this past week.
Exactly.
But so Gary had messaged me, and he had been investigating and reading like a new series of books. I think they just came out not that long ago, Gary.
Not that long ago, and there's 6 out, and she's supposed to write more.
Yes.
Every one of them is related to a Poe poem or story with a teenage boy who's a detective. And I just have a copy of the first one. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
but I think it'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
And it's based on the Raven. And I think it'd be kind of neat if we could do that for the group.
So he had made the suggestion. It's roughly
very short.
It is YA fiction. It's 136 pages.
It's meant for middle school kids,
Yeah.
so it's easy reading.
Middle school or YA? Middle school or YA, they're different.
Yeah.
What age level? Is it like teenage?
All I know is it says middle school age on the description.
That middle school and middle grade are different. So that's probably YA. Yeah.
Yeah, it says middle grade fantasy on the back.
Middle grade.
What's the name?
Yeah, middle. So her name is P. Anastasia, and she's got these really elaborate ads on Facebook
That's why she kept popping up on my Facebook. I'm like, who is this person, and why is she popping up on my Facebook?
Yeah.
And I did some reading about the books and about her, and I thought, this sounds really bitchin' to me. I mean, I think they're going to be neat.
So I was going to take my screen down, and then so you can see that's what it looks like.
There's a glare, unfortunately.
Oh, hold on. It may be the lighting in here. Is that a little bit better? There we go.
That's good.
And that's the first one based on the Raven.
So
and there's 6, and I said to her, I said, how come you don't have a box set? And she said, I'm not done yet. I have several more that I'm going to add. I think she said 10 maybe.
Yeah, because you talked to her, I think. Yeah. Would you guys be interested in doing that one?
I'm raising my hand.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm up for whatever if it's got
same. Yeah.
I'll do it if you let me say what I want to say.
Don't we always?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
I was going to say.
Because you know me, I'm not going to hold back. So yes, because I'm okay with it if you guys want to do it. I'm just saying that I might have a little. I might not be as violent as some words of the mummy, but I'm just saying. Okay.
Oh, I don't believe her.
When will that be?
Well, I was thinking, what do we want to save it for December, since Once Upon a Midnight Dreary, it's in December.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
We could do it that, and then we just need to decide something for November, if y'all have any ideas. If you want to think about it, because we've got 2 months, well, really 3 months to decide, so it's all
We've
good.
never done The Devil in the Belfry.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's true. We have not. Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, because we've done Never Bet the Devil Your Head, but not The Devil in the Belfry. So do y'all want to do that for November?
Absolutely.
That sounds good to me.
All right, and that will be November. We've got the rest of the year planned out. That will be the last Tuesday in November is actually during the week of Thanksgiving, the 25th. Would that be an issue for anybody, or should we just move it to the 18th just to be safe?
Let's move it to the 18th.
Yeah, I might be traveling.
Okay. I actually I know I'm traveling during part of that week. I just don't know how soon. So the 18th would be better. Okay.
Just send out a reminder.
Oh yeah, I always do. And okay.
And since we're talking about authors, I was looking, and Carmen has a book out that she's written, and it's on Barnes and Nobles.
Yes.
Yeah, I have read it. It is exquisite.
Thank you.
I'm going to order it.
Yay. Yeah, I actually have an author signing, my first one this Saturday at East Nashville Books in Nashville. And so I'm really excited about that.
Great.
Are
Do
you
you live in
coming
the
to
Nashville
the
area?
Poe Fest?
Yes.
You have it there?
Yes, I will.
Okay, I'll pick one up.
Yeah,
okay.
You guys will love it. It's the time period and written in like elegant like style of Poe, so you guys will eat it up. It is cool. Very, very good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, and then like back-to-back weekends. So the weekend of the September 5th, 6th, I'm going to be at the Happily Ever After Romance Book Festival in Sevierville, Tennessee for that. Oh. So that'll be exciting. Yeah, while mine, it's Gothic romance and it's based on Annabelle Lee, it's not as romancy as a lot of the people I think that will be there. So just based on seeing who the authors are and everything.
Yeah, but romance has taken a turn towards the lusty. So yeah.
Yes, mine is very, very closed door.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of readers who like that and appreciate that. So yeah, it's just
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
it's Victorian romance, so it's Regency romance.
Yes. So I think that's it, guys, unless y'all have anything else. And I will say, I know that the P. Anastasia, she was on the list for being nominated for a Saturday Visitor Award.
Yes.
As well. So
it's got some really positive buzz.
Okay.
Really does.
I hope he comes in second.
Well, I was gonna say I'm there for Steve, guys. Steve, I actually changed my traveling plans for you. I want you to know that.
Oh,
yeah. I'm gonna be there for Steve, and I'm gonna
on Saturday. On Saturday.
I'm gonna be there on Saturday. Yeah, awesome. I'm going to the whole ball thing and everything. Heck yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I will be there.
I'll be at the ball.
Forewarned.
I'll be rooting for you, Steve.
Thank you.
Holly, you're nominated, aren't you?
Oh yeah, one of my kids' books are. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's that. So I'm rooting for both of you. I'll be there too with my daughter.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. And Stephen, are you going to the Black Cat Ball? Will you be at the ball?
Yeah, I probably will be.
Okay, great.
I try not to stay too late because the next day I got to get up real early and fetch beer and drive, go back and forth and set up again.
Imagine. So, yeah.
But I always go to Black Cat Ball.
Oh, good.
Are you going to be at the Friday night event too?
Probably. I have not looked at the tickets and everything for that yet, but I was
that's free for all vendors.
Oh,
it's a free
okay.
event.
Okay, great.
This year it should be.
Yeah, so we'll
Last year it wasn't, I think, because it was a very expensive event.
Yeah.
Have we heard who the vendors are yet for Poe Fest? Has a list been put out who was approved for
I haven't seen any. I have a board meeting in a couple weeks, but I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Just wondered.
Maybe then I will find out.
Because I signed up.
Oh, good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll bring my books for everybody to sign. That's what I'm gonna be. I'm like the book lady. I'm glad my husband is strong because I'm not carrying that stuff. But I will have all my books for everybody. Yeah.
Bring a backpack.
Yeah, Matt's good. He lifts weights, so he's all good with that stuff. I already have him in a little box. I say, Steve, I have yours. Cheryl, I have him already. And oh my gosh, yeah, shoot. You know what, Carmen? Mine is not signed from you, so I actually have to pull that one off the shelf.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Get everything signed.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for this evening. This has been awesome.
Yes, thank you.
And
thank you.
Look forward to next month with the oblong box.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a great night and a great month.
Nice meeting you all.
Adios.
Thanks, David, for coming to join us.
Join us next week.
Oh, wow.
Whatever it is.